This is One-on-One. Linda Czipo is Executive Director of the Center for Nonprofits. Good to see you, Linda.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
There are a lot of misconceptions about nonprofits out there, and we'll talk about some of the major impacts of nonprofits, or two nonprofits since Hurricane Sandy in 2012. But what I'm curious about is this. Some folks think, oh, a nonprofit, that means they're not concerned about the financial bottom line. They don't run like a real business, and they're a charity. Truth is?
Nonprofits, to be successful, have to run like businesses. The myth is nonprofits can't make a profit, and in fact, to stay in operation, you have to be able to have the dollars, the resources to keep the business running. And so it's advisable and even wise to have a surplus at the end of the year to pump back into your programs.
So the Caucus Educational Corporation, the not-for-profit that runs this production company, right?
Yes.
I only say this because we try to run, I don't even want to say like a business, because there's some businesses that are really poorly run. We operate pretty tightly, and we do 2 days of production. I think you know we have lots of guests over 2 days, right? The reason we do that is because of economies of scale dictate that each show is frankly cheaper because you do it that way.
Sure.
Tighter margins, right?
Yes.
You get more out of the grant. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, nonprofits are very, very creative at stretching the resources. They leverage donations, they leverage volunteers, they find ways to share services, collaborate, economize. That's what nonprofits do.
And your center helps them do that.
Yes, we do.
Explain to folks what your center is, because people say, oh, why would they need a center for nonprofits to help nonprofits do that? Shouldn't they know how to do it on their own?
Well, it's not as easy running a nonprofit successfully as some might think. Nonprofits are the places where people turn to when they need services and help. Nonprofits themselves need a place to turn to, and we try to be that place. So you can call us for advice about compliance requirements. There are a lot of laws.
Compliance with whom?
Laws, regulations, be it fundraising. The IRS has a series of requirements you have to adhere to. Nonprofits are, if they have employees, are bound by the same labor laws as everybody else. So there's a whole framework of laws and regulations that we help organizations to navigate. We help organizations pool their resources by providing purchase opportunities, things like that, so ways to stretch the bottom line that way. And we also advocate for public policies to make the climate a little bit easier for nonprofits to do their missions.
Hurricane Sandy. There are some nonprofits that have actually been created out of Hurricane Sandy. There were nonprofits that were created out of 9/11. There are nonprofits created out of disasters all the time, right?
Sure.
Some of them are very helpful and have an impact. Some of them took advantage of these horrible situations, right?
Yeah.
How is it that we even know which nonprofits are credible and real and which ones aren't?
It all comes down to doing your homework, doing your research, asking the right questions. I mean, certainly there is an existing network of established organizations that are active in this field, and sometimes it's good to go with the names and the entities that you know. For the new ones, look into things like who's on the board. Are they? Do they have the mission statements? Do they have the requisite paperwork? I mean, there were some folks parading around as charitable organizations that really weren't. Sometimes it comes down to just that level of basic information.
But the irony is, some of the biggest not-for-profits, the ones that have the brand, if you will, and I know that word is overused for people who know the show, but I use that word a lot, which is nothing more than your public reputation,
sure,
the way I describe it. Some of the biggest brands in the nonprofit world had some of the biggest problems because they were paying their executives millions of dollars. There were serious questions about their finances and whether they were in fact using their dollars that they were getting in donations for what they were supposed to be using their dollars for. Right? Am I making too much of that?
Well, I mean, clearly, if that happens, it's a big concern.
But doesn't that throw off the reputation? That causes us some concern. But again, they have to clean up their operation, get rid of the people who are doing those things and get back to what they were supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah, but that is a fraction. It taints everybody, to be sure. But that is a fraction of the thousands.
That's like one politician who does the wrong thing. So everyone in politics is no good. That That's not a solution.
No, it's not. And sometimes there's a tendency to try to propose policies that would react to the one anecdote, and that's an issue as well.
That's bad policy.
Yeah, it's just short-sighted, and that's something that we certainly hope that we would like to avoid.
So what about for the nonprofits that have been adversely impacted by Hurricane Sandy, because all of the dollars, or not all, but many of the dollars are going toward Hurricane Sandy relief efforts?
Well, you've got a couple of different things, because the dollars that are going to some of the relief efforts are then being channeled back to nonprofits. And there are foundations that are running. One of the funds has been created by the Community Foundation of New Jersey, and Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation are working together on that. They have a lot of experience in doing this stuff and funding organizations that are good and reputable and will use the money wisely. The other concern, though, is that, and this happens after big disasters, funds are, for lack of a better word, diverted. It's not to say that, because nonprofits were already reeling from the recession.
Yes.
They've been having a hard time as it is, and that effect has been exacerbated by the storm, because you've got you've got people out of work, you've got people who've lost their homes, they're not able to donate the way they were, and some people who were, or some grant makers who were able to donate, have understandably decided that they need to channel more of their money into the relief effort. That leaves a lot of pre-existing needs and causes looking around for how they're going to make their ends meet, make their ends meet to serve the community.
In your organization, how many people on your team?
We have 3 full-time and 1 part-time.
How did you get into this?
I actually discovered the center as an intern through the Eagleton Institute.
I know the place well.
Yes.
It's a wonderful institute connected to Rutgers University.
Yes.
A fellowship program that I graduated from in the early 80s. And really graduates some terrific people who go on to do public policy and other work. So you came out of there and what, you heard about?
I was an intern at the center. I really found the mission to be very, very powerful. The ability to leverage one set of resources to influence and strengthen and benefit the entire nonprofit community, so that they could provide services and programs of benefit to the state.
Well, it's an important organization. It's the Center for Nonprofits, and Linda, I appreciate you coming in. We appreciate it. And people think, oh, nonprofits, that's a nice thing. No, they make a huge impact on the state of New Jersey and in the country, so we appreciate you coming in, Linda.
Thanks for having me.
Steve Adubato, this is One on One. We'll be right back right after this.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One on One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Wells Fargo, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the New Jersey Education Association, New Jersey Council of County Colleges, New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, PSE&G, and by Verizon Communications. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine. One on One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.